distinguished guests, respected dignitaries, ladies and gentlemen. I deem it a privilege to be your host for the valedictory program of the third World Ocean Science Congress WOSC 2024. On behalf of the team of National Institute of Ocean Technology, Indian Institute of Technology Madras, and Vijnana Bharati, I extend a very warm welcome to each and everyone who has been present with us today here. I'd also like to inform that the Honorable Union Minister of State for Information and Broadcasting and Fisheries, Animal Husbandry and Dairying, Dr. L. Murugan, will also be joining us shortly for his valedictory address. We have come to the end of WOSC 2024. We trust that each and everyone has learned a thing or two, met someone new, and has a memory to take back home. Dr. G.A. Ramadas, the director of the National Institute of Technology, who has also coordinated the development of India's first manned scientific submersible, Matsya 6000, shall now deliver the welcome address. Please, sir.
Dr. P.S. Goyal, former Secretary, MOS, Chair, National Innovation Foundation. Dr. Sailesh Naik, former Secretary, MOS, and Director of National Institute of Advanced Studies. Dr. Sachin Chaturvedi, DG, Research and Information Systems for Developing Countries. Dr. Chennai, former Director of INCOIS and NIOT, and Vice President Vijnana Bharati. Dr. Atmanand, former Director, NIOT and Visiting Professor IIT Madras. Invitees, organizers, friends from the media, students, ladies and gentlemen, it's an honor and pleasure for me to welcome you all to the last session of this World Ocean Science Congress, WOSC 24. We this is the third edition of Ocean Science Congress. First one was done in Cochin, second one was done in Vishakhapatnam. This is the third edition. The theme has been very carefully chosen as the sustainable utilization of oceans in blue economy. There were 10 sub themes, they were carefully chosen, and we had 28 parallel sessions in 3 days, which were well attended. And there was a ocean summit attended by coastal states and coastal countries representatives. And we had a session with the fishermen, which was really a very lively discussion was held during that one. And and we had exhibitions by the sponsors and the industries and the participating organizations. We had poster sessions, and after completing all these things, now the grand finale is the panel discussion by the eminent personalities. And very soon, Honorable Minister Dr. L. Murugan will be gracing the occasion. And the panelists were very carefully chosen. Dr. P.S. Goyal, Padma Shri, he is he is the chairman of the uh, Program Management Committee and Technical Evaluation Committee of the Samudrayan Program of India. And he has been our mentor for so many years. And next one is Dr. Sailesh Naik, and the former Secretary of MOES and Director of NIAS. And these two are the people who are responsible for what we are today and what we are doing today. And we are eager to listen from them. And Dr. Sachin Chaturvedi, morning we had an excellent talk by him, and we got a very good clarity about what is blue economy and how it is different from ocean commerce and this GDP and all. So it's very apt that he is actually giving his views in the panel today. And of course, Dr. Shenoy, he has been our director and Incois director, and he has been the chair professor of MOS now, and he has been closely working with us, and he can share his views. And Dr. Atman, he has been our director for 80 years, and he has been the guiding light for us for many years, and and he will represent us in the panel. So with this really eminent panelists, actually, we don't want to really take any more time of you, and I welcome the panelists on the dais. I request Dr. P.S. Goel to preside over and moderate the discussions. Thank you. Yeah. I'm sorry for this one. Before that one, with the indulgence of the chair, we request um, Dr. Josia to give a summary of what has happened in the last 3 days. Sorry, sir.
Very good evening to one and all. It's a privilege and also a proud moment for me to give an overview of the Third World Ocean Science Congress, which we conducted during 27th to 29th February under the umbrella of National Institute of Ocean Technology, along with IIT Madras and Vijnana Bharati. So I will be quickly going through the things. So we have we were blessed with the patrons, our Sri Kiran Riju, our minister, and Dr. Vijay Bhatkar, VIBA president, along with 12 advisors from various institutions who were at the level of secretary level, mostly secretary level people. And the national committee is organized under the chairmanship of Dr. G.A. Ramadas, along with Professor S.S. Sanyasiraj. He is the co-chair. And we were having all the institute representation, mostly the directors and all. Our focal theme is sustainable utilization of oceans in blue economy. So we have our core theme has very meticulously identified 10 sub-themes which can give which can address this sustainable utilization of these oceans. So they were fisheries with a special focus on offshore cage culture technology and policy. We have a coordinator for Dr. Kribagaran for this. The second one was tourism, development of tourism in coastal states and islands and policy. This particular one was led by Dr. Ramesh from NCSM. And the third one, ocean services, what is existing and what is required. This was coordinated by Dr. Balakrishnan Nair from INGOIS Hyderabad. And fourth one, ocean observations, processes and modeling was coordinated under two eminent scientists, Dr. Prasanna Kumar from NIO Goa and Dr. Patabi Ramarao from INGOIS Hyderabad. Fifth one is harnessing of marine minerals and other resources, exploration and EEA perspective. So this particular one, we had three people, our Mr. Gopakumar from NIOT and Dr. John Gurian and Dr. Parijat from NCPR Goa. Sixth one is underwater domain awareness. This particular one was coordinated by Maritime Research Center Pune and it was the coordinator was Miss Catherine. Seventh one is policy requirements for sustainable utilization of ocean. This particular one was coordinated by Dr. M.A. Atmanand and we had ocean technologies for sustainable development. This particular one was done by Dr. Purnima Jalihal. And the ninth one, coastal protection and restoration of coast. Dr. Usha from NCCR coordinated this. And finally, the 10th one, marine biodiversity and ecosystem. This particular one was done by Dr. Sherin from CMLRE. Apart from this, we had associated events. Four different associated events were there. One of the major one was Ocean Summit, where we have representations from Indian Ocean rim countries, and we have also representatives from the coastal states of India. And there was a fisherman meet. Again, we had representation from all over the country that all the coastal states were there. And more than 90 participants were gathered here to discuss what are the services they are getting and what are the constraints they want to raise to the government. And there was an early career ocean professionals meet, which was conducted by Miss Sunanda and Dr. Divya David from NCPR. More than 100 youngsters who were the delegates who came for this, they gathered on the first day evening and they were discussing how they can move forward. And there was an exhibition conducted. So we had 6 plenary speakers. We had very eminent people. So every day we had two eminent scientists were discussing different aspects. So 45 minutes they have given. So this is the list of eminent people. And we had 16 lead speakers. So we had 28 sessions, 28 parallel technical sessions were conducting. And we had the lead speakers from 16 various institutions, and they were like topic specific, addressing various strategic topics. And we have also conducted a students competition for the school students. So here we had participation from more than 50 schools, and there were three categories. One was essay writing, another one is pencil drawing, and there was also a online quiz competition. So we conducted for juniors and senior category. And those prize winners, like state level prize winners, will be presented today during this valedictory session. And I would like to quickly give an overview of our WSC 2024. So we received 422 abstracts. Out of that, 200 oral and 136 posters were presented during this. And the total registration stands at 588. And we had 28 technical sessions. We were always having 4 parallel sessions. And we are giving away best paper awards for 24 youngsters. And we had 6 plenary talks, 16 lead talks, and the student participation is 265. And the early career ocean professionals are 122. The travel support was also a major attraction, major thing which we could enable. Like the students who were not supported by any other funding were given the travel support to come and from and to this their institutions. So we got a request of around 295 students, and we have also provided a complimentary accommodation to the students at Anna University hostel. So that number comes to 105. We have 15 organizations as collaborators and 25 as sponsors. And the first day footfall is around 576, second day 650, and third day it stands at 610. So I think this number says the success of our WOSC 2024. So I have a gist of this WOSC presented here. So you can see that the same numbers I have brought it into the picture. So I have one more statistics presented here. So I hope you might have understood. So out of the 6 plenary speakers, there was one lady. And out of the 16 lead speakers, we had 3 ladies. And out of 26 coordinators, there were 10 coordinators, lady coordinators were there. Out of the 28 chairs, we had 7. I think that number is little more up. I have to correct it. And there were 10 lady co-chairs out of 28, and we have the rapport shares of 10 out of 28. So I hope it was well represented by ladies and youngsters, and it's a very good. We have like the younger participation is much more, and we are very happy that. And I thank one and all for coming here and blessing our this WSC 24, whether it is senior. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. The valedictory panel discussion on the theme Sustainable Utilization of Oceans in Blue Economy will be chaired by Dr. P.S. Goel. Dr. Prem Shankar Goel is a former secretary at the Ministry of Earth Sciences and a former director of the Indian Space Research Organization. He is a member of the International Academy of Astronautics, Paris, and has won several awards and accolades, including the Padma Shri in 2001. He is currently chair of the Project Monitoring and Guidance Committee for the Manned Submersible Mission, the Samudrayan mission of MOES. On the panelists for the discussion are Dr. Shailesh Nayak, Director of National Institute of Advanced Studies, NIAS, Bengaluru, and former Secretary of the Ministry of Earth Sciences; Dr. Sachin Chaturvedi, Director General of the Research and Information System, RIS; Dr. Satish C. Shenoy, Vice President of the Vijnana Bharati and former Director of INCOIS; and Dr. M.A. Atmanand, former Director of NIOT and Visiting Professor at IIT Madras. On this note, I hand over the session to the chair, Dr. P.S. Goel.
Namaskar. Good afternoon. My co-panelists, Dr. Shailesh Nayak, Dr. Chaturvedi, Dr. Atmanand, Dr. Shunai, Ramdas is somewhere else. Okay. All the scientists, participants in this conference, students, which are very important for building the future. I was very pleasantly surprised to see the interest in the theme. I was never expecting this kind of a participation, so I must congratulate first to the organizers that they could create so much interest in the ocean and ocean-related things like blue economy. So it's something remarkable. When I look at this conference as a sort of uh, milestone that when we are looking for the future, obviously the sustainable earth is not enough. We have to go to ocean for sustainability because the population increasing, and that perhaps brings out how to utilize the ocean for various purposes. Normally, when we say panel discussion tries to focus what is the outcome of congress or conference. So my request to our panelists will be that we try to focus their view, what we have achieved and what should be direction for the future, because it's a kind of a very unique activity where it's led by the Ministry of Earth Science, which is primarily responsible for the future of whatever we want to do in terms of blue economy. It's a basic theme Prime Minister is many times emphasizing, and the deep ocean mission is a very important element of that mission, which is a very, you can say, uh, familiar or more interested of prime minister always actually asked secretary ministry of earth science, okay, you are that ocean wala. So he has a kind of a vision that ocean is going to make lot of difference to our lives. So in this context, I would request all our panelists to really focus what we have achieved, but more than what we need to do. So with that kind of a thing, my suggestion will be that we talk for about 10 minutes each of our panelists. Then I'd like to get some views from the audience also. And perhaps I'm not going to talk much in the beginning. Maybe I'll try to see if there is some kind of a consensus emerging. We'll try to even put a paper on paper later for the organizers to follow. So please keep your thoughts also, at least some participation I would like to get from audience also. So I'm going to first request uh, Dr. Shailesh Nayak. He has taken a lot of interest, in fact, ever since he was secretary. And I have heard one of his lecture earlier also on blue economy. So he's spent a lot of time. I'm sure he must be having a lot of ideas towards that. So first we'll request Dr. Shailesh Nayak to give his views and inputs.
Thank you, Dr. Goel, my fellow panelists, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, I am extremely grateful to the organizers, Dr. Ravichandran and Dr. Ramdas, to invite me and share my thoughts. The We have seen that the ocean provide is a complex array of biophysical goods and services. And the research, which especially I'm sure that Sachin will further elaborate, but the economic and social aspect have been also found that it has multiple values and how it contributes to human health, well-being, and the development. So in this regard, we should view the ocean as a natural capital which provides the livelihood, driver of the innovation, and when all the three are there, I'm sure that it makes a very good business. I think Sachin will agree with me. I'm trying to come into your area, but this is what I think. So if you think this is a right, the what we should be doing. Now, the first and foremost question comes is about the fisheries. And the INCOIS has PMs and advisory. I'm sure that all that has been discussed. But the important part is that the saving of a fuel saves about 0.16 ton of carbon dioxide per 1 ton of fish collected. So it is not only the economic benefit, but the environmental benefit as well. I think that is what is most important. And 91% of the Indian fishery is still within the sustainable catch of limit. But in future, we know that the things are changing. There are northward shift of the fishery, especially sardine and mackerel. And we need to now assess the annual stock of the pelagic fishery, especially sardine, mackerel, and many others. And this is where the models are being under development. And I think this is one area which is very critical. Second is the distant fisheries. We are roughly utilizing about 12% of tuna potential. I think this needs to be increased. And the total potential of the distant fishery is about 1.2 million tons as of now, which we are not actually harvesting. So, as far as the fishery is concerned, I think these three areas are very critical. Now, if you want this fishery to continue, I think the health of the ecosystem is also extremely important. And especially three mangrove corals and the seagrasses. But we are not trying to address the issue of how much valuable these ecosystems are. And that is why there is always some kind of a competition between the development and the conservation of the ecosystems. So we need to identify how we can make a value of the services which is provided by this ecosystem, which could be provisioning service or support service or a cultural service. I think that is one which is very important. And the second is we have been always trying to see when the climate change is a temperature rise. But we are not trying to understand that increase in the carbon dioxide itself, how it is going to change the plant's behavior, as well as the increased carbon dioxide into we may change the pH of the ocean water and how that is going to affect the coral reefs. So I think some analysis or this research on these aspects are very critical. Third is about the biodiversity, and we had a program of a census of marine life and ocean biogeographical information system. I think there are a lot of work is being done, but I think we need to further continue for the entire Indian Ocean. This has to be continued. The other issues are about the pollution, the hammer algal blooms, and we have an advisories, but I think what we need is an early warning system for the uh, harmful algal blooms. The tourism is one of the most important aspect of the activity. And in India, we have started what is called as identify as a blue flag beaches. That means the beaches which are identified certain stretch of the beach, which is safe for swimming, the water quality is good, and there are other facilities for the shower room and washrooms and other for people to come enjoy the sea and go back. So there are 12 beaches already been identified as a blue flag, and I think we need about 100 beaches. And what we have seen is this beaches will also bring additional revenue to the people, also the livelihood options. As we shift from fossil fuel based to the renewable, we will need certain critical minerals, certain rare earths, and nickel and cobalt. And the requirement of nickel and cobalt is about 5 lakh for the nickel and 2 lakh tons for the cobalt. And I don't think these resources are available on land. And we will have to look at ocean for this. And not only the ocean, which is either on a seabed or, but also the seawater and brine itself. Because as you go down the heavy metals, you find much more at 800 to 1000-meter dissolved into the water. And also the brine which is there, there are several metals. I think we need to address that issue because we already addressed the issues which are available on seabed. As far as the energy is concerned, I think the most important aspect is the gas hydrates, which is, of course, I know that the ONGC has been very actively pursuing, but uh, what we need is also how we are going to harvest. What are the technology which required to harness? And I think it's not that we know now where the gas hydrates, but we don't know how to harness. So this is one area which is we need to do. Since we are doing lot of such activities, I think the coastal and marine area management concept, which is scientific managing the coast, is very critical. The other aspects which we need to do is the how we can sustain the long-term observations in the ocean, models and services. Also, the measurement and analysis of the trace element, the geotraces, I think is very critical. And to develop the climate services, that means what is likely to happen next 6 months, 1 year, and the decade. Now, this will need a large amount of investment in research vessels, in satellites, buoys, autonomous vehicles. And I think the Deep Ocean Mission is one which is, I think, focusing on these aspects that the large investment is coming. And the most important are the two things once we do all that. One is we need to build an accounting system where we can environmental and economic data are integrated. And since this ocean area, there are several players, Ministry of Earth Science is one, but the petroleum, the energy ministry, the shipping, and the host of. So, what should be the institutional framework? Put them together so that we can have a system by which we can reap the benefit of the ocean. Thank you very much for the attention.
Thank you, Dr. Suresh Nayak. You have covered practically everything that is required for blue economy, and it's very, I would say, consolidated view you have given. So that's very nice. Thank you very much. Uh, I understand that Dr. Chaturvedi has already given a lecture in the morning. So we would like you to now summarize what you would like to see that where the country should go. And whatever has been covered, you are familiar with that. So we'd like to get your views on that.
Thank you. Thanks, Dr. Goyal, for this opportunity and for giving us the direction in which this panel should go. Respected Dr. Shailesh Naik, Dr. Shenoy, Dr. Atmanand, Dr. Vahej, and I miss Dr. Ramdos here, but I think he would join us very soon. Friends and colleagues, this morning rather, we discussed issues which I feel are important in terms of what scientists can look at in terms of advancing the agenda and research frontier further in terms of connecting with the dots as Indian Ocean witnesses, bringing that up both in terms of research frontiers that we need to address, but also the resources where they would come from, the kind of challenges that geopolitics is posing, and also the amount of energy that we need to put in to bring in our own norm setting that is needed for governance of oceans, for their protection from not only excessive exploitation, but also from ecological perspectives, the time that it requires to nurture the coastline, the biodiversity, the resource base, etc. So I would have just a couple of points to quickly capture the time that is given to me. And first and foremost, as I elaborated in my talk, right now there is no time to get into details of it. But first and foremost, I think our scientists and the community here, which is gathering on this platform, should evolve a definition that can capture the idea of blue economy. And this, as I explained in the beginning today morning, is important not only for scientists and for projects, but also for the small developing countries, least developed countries, small island developing countries, so SIDS, LDCs, they require finance from international financial institutions. India and India's leadership through India's scientists should create these new conditions for financing that should be made available for ecological initiatives, for providing sustenance to oceans. SDG 14, and this I think is absolutely important. So when I'm saying that we should evolve a definition of economy related to oceans called as blue economy, we should capture the dimensions that are related to identifying possible financial propositions associated with project financing. So that's my first point. And second, where India has made some efforts, but India can support neighboring countries and countries across Indian Ocean for evolving their national ocean policies. National ocean policies are going to be dovetailed in the overall framework of blue economy, which is our commitment for sustainability. And that part, I think, would be relevant in terms of how we evolve regional strategies. So, this platform, led by scientists, can tell us what regional institutional frameworks we need to take forward the idea of implementation of blue economy projects. So, when we are meeting every year, the intercession period can be leveraged for three things. First, definition of blue economy and financing associated with that. Second, to strengthen national ocean policy frameworks across developing countries. There are 20 countries in the rim of the Indian Ocean. These 20 countries require support, handholding, and guidance in terms of evolving it. Third, is to identify regional institutional frameworks for implementing these projects. So you need to create fund finance, you need to create policy framework, and then comes in the institutional framework to implement it. Thanks to Dr. Shailesh Naik, we already have the blue economy framework from Prime Minister's Economic Advisory Council and also from Niti Aayog. A lot of activity has already gone in at IORA, the Indian Ocean Rim Association, and areas that are important. Two more important points that I want to mention. One, certainly, is in terms of identifying what kind of technological sort of coalition we can do. United Nations, while establishing SDGs, already created a platform called Technology Facilitation Mechanism, TFM. And this TFM was established after India, Brazil, and France pressed for creating a pool of technologies where countries can borrow so that we save ourselves from the burden of intellectual property associated with technologies. Because this is about conservation, it is about ecology, it is about nurturing the biodiversity life across oceans so that the sea fleets, the identification of sea lanes are all backed by biodiversity based data so that least destruction is there. Last point is in terms of bringing in young people, and since morning I'm seeing a lot of students in this room. I think we need to identify new opportunities of connecting our science of oceans with our finance, with our economy, and see how new opportunities can come up. I gave examples this morning of insurance sector, reinsurance sector, the industries that are associated with oceans, the nature of startups that are coming in. We require new energy to identify these possibilities. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Chaturvedi, for very nice points. It was complementing very well with Dr. Suresh Nayak because we have given really more policy input. So that was very useful. Thank you very much. I'll request now Dr. Atmanand to share his views.
Respected Dr. Goyal, chairman of this panel, Dr. Shailesh Nayak, Dr. Chaturvedi, Dr. Chennai, Dr. Ramdas, and many of my former colleagues and present colleagues from IIT Madras, and a lot of students are there. Very happy to see that. So we have now to talk about blue economy and how it is sustainable in the oceans. See, this we are keeping on listening for let me see about last 15, 20 years. Everywhere you go, blue economy, blue economy, blue economy. And what is it, etc.? I think already you have an idea. So I'm not going to that. But what I would like to go through is certain areas which are more into technological aspects we will discuss, and we see how really good we are or how much we should do to become good. I mean, let us take it that way. So, one of the aspects already Dr. Shailesh Naik has explained about fisheries, sustainable fisheries. I will not repeat that, but I will just add some of the technological interventions which could be done in fisheries. See, you know that there is something called cage culturing, wherein you can have the fish in certain cages in the coastal regions. Of course, this is nothing new. I won't say that this is a new innovation or something like that because it's available in Norway and other developed countries on a large scale. So, India, we started that at NIOT. Dr. Kribagaran, who is the main person who took the lead, is here, I think, in the audience. And the team had done a lot of work, and many locations were identified and successfully. I even remember one occasion Dr. Shailesh Nayak had visited the site also at that time. But there is a hitch in this. See, the sea belongs to whom? I mean, it belongs to the state, or rather to the fishermen. So you cannot just like land. I mean, land you can say that you can give a patta or something like that and say that this belongs to this person, and some belongs to the government. But sea leasing is something which is not as yet in India, and sea leasing policies are not in place to the best of my knowledge, even though a lot of efforts are being done to bring it into practice. So once that is done, again the same advantage as that is available with the potential fishing zone which INCOIS is doing will be available because the fishermen they don't have to travel long distances. That means carbon footprint is less. Your carbon dioxide which is given out is less. Your ocean acidification will be less. All of them will be less. So this is one aspect which we should think of as far as sustainable fisheries is concerned. But there are also other aspects which are quite challenging. There is something called unreported and unregulated fishing that is happening in this part of the world. This has to be really reduced or even made nil. There are countries like, for example, Japan, where if you go to a restaurant, I heard that, of course, I don't know that, I happen to be a vegetarian. So they say that the fish which comes on your plate, they will indicate that this is something which has been developed sustainably. And of course, the cost may be more, but you don't unnecessarily use I mean, carbon footprint is reduced when that fish comes to you. So something similar to these things we should have. That is one aspect. Next, most important aspect, which when we talk about uh, sustainability resource from the ocean, is energy. We all know that it is almost infinite amount of energy is there because everything is coming from the sun, and we have got wind, wave, current, ocean thermal, all these things are there. And in this part of the world, definitely the temperature, because we are nearer to the equator, temperature on the surface is high, so ocean thermal energy conversion is the most appropriate one. But we are still work in progress at NIOT. There is a major project wherein uh, the OTEC powered desalination plant will be set up in the one of the islands in the Lakshadweep. So with that, what will happen is you get water without any carbon footprint. It is just free water without carbon footprint. This is the ultimate aim. Because if you compare with desalination plant, I read somewhere that one more desalination plant has been inaugurated in somewhere in Chennai. And what happens is that is reverse osmosis, which gives out lot of brine. And you know that brine, when it goes to the sea back, it will affect the corals and the health of the ocean is affected. So this is one important aspect as far as energy is concerned. And energy is possible in various other means. You know that land, we have got windmills available, and now India has got a policy to have offshore wind farms. And offshore wind farms will be soon coming in Gujarat. Already Ministry of New and Renewable Energy has they have put up a tender to identify the agency which will set up these plants and get renewable energy. And similarly in Tamil Nadu also, in Rameshwaram and Kanyakumari also, the sites have been identified. Hopefully that will be done here also. But in all these cases, we have to be very careful with the environment, because offshore wind farms, when we set up, uh, when you have to do a pile foundation, the corals get damaged. So we have to, whenever we go about in all these renewable energies, we should also be careful to protect the environment and see that minimum damage. See, you cannot say that no damage. Nothing is possible in that case. We have to only minimize the damage that takes place in this condition. Then another aspect which I wanted to just touch upon in continuation with what uh, Dr. Shailesh Naik said is, when you talk about tourism, you know that after the 2004 tsunami, a lot of issues were there, and we have got a center, both NIOT and INCOIS are working together to have this tsunami warning, etc., which most of you may be familiar. In this case, there is a concept of tsunami ready village. That means that location or a beach and that location, all the requirements to protect the people in case of a unforeseen tsunami is available. Like warning will be reaching them on time through various means, through mobile phones and sirens and all other things, and people will be able to move to safe locations. And once this type of certified beach is there, tourism in that location will improve much, because a foreigner who is coming to that particular beach would be more confident to come there in case this particular beach is tsunami ready. So this is another aspect. Basically, this will come due to through marine spatial planning, and all other aspects. So this is an important factor. Now coming to other innovations and technologies, ships, you know that all of them work on, I mean, the fuel used is, again, it will give a lot of carbon footprint. So green shipping is the new concept wherein we are going back to what we had in ancient times when maybe the Cholas and all they went through ships with sails. So we are coming back to that. Of course, now we have got models to do the analysis, and the sails are all retractable, and various technologies are there, so that we get at least some amount of power from the wind. Also, photovoltaic, which is on the surface of all the ships, we could use for generating at least little bit of power. Then about minerals, I have a slight, I don't know, I mean, internally, I always have this issue that minerals in the ocean, whether we can call it sustainable or not, because minerals have been formed in the ocean, I mean, millions of years. Geographically, it has been formed there, and we take it out and use it, of course, with in a sustainable manner without damaging the environment. But for the formation of that, it takes billions of years. And are we right in calling it as a sustainable resource? I have my own doubt. Maybe we can discuss outside the hall. Then what I want to indicate here is that that UN Decade of Ocean Science for Sustainable Development from 2021 to 2030 is in full swing now. All of you, I think, are very well aware of that. This is also certified by this UN Decade, this conference. But the main thing which all of us should understand is that UN Decade, through that, lot of projects are going on. Ultimately, but we should know whether we are getting the benefit, or how much is the benefit. For example, let us say that we have the certain amount of acidification in the ocean and certain sea level rise during the start of the decade, and if you measure it after the decade is over, is there any benefit or there is an improvement? We have to quantify it, then only we can say that all our efforts are fruitful. Now coming to the last part is, I am seeing lot of students here, and I feel that because Ramdas was telling me that with my now the current hat which I am having with IIT, I should add some points. So I feel that this the blue economy and the sustainability and other concepts are not being taught or not being discussed at length in the universities or even the schools. So it is highly essential that this is in some form, it should be taught to the school, either in the form of curriculum, or maybe in the form of extracurricular activities, where like the ECOPS program, I think with Sananda handled here with the students, like you prepared some videos or some sketches or things like that. So in that way, the students and the next generation, because you are the people who are going to really get benefited, or maybe uh, not getting benefited because of the issues which people in our generation are doing with the ocean. So it is necessary that students have to really come up with this new activities which will generate I mean more skills, and make the ocean a better place to live. So with this, I conclude my points. I would really like to thank the organizers, Dr. Chennai, Dr. Ramdas, Dr. Vivek, and all others who invited me for this. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Atmanand. Sometime later, we'll discuss what is sustainable, what is not.
Yes, sir.
May I request now, Dr. Shania? Hmm?
Thank you, Goel Saab, chairman of this panel, uh, Dr. Shailesh Naik, Professor Sachin Chaturvedi, and Dr. Atmanand, the fellow panelists. Uh, Whether we have to come out with a new definition for blue economy or not, to me, in simple terms, it appears that it's a commitment to extract value from the oceans without compromising their delicate ecosystems and overall health. That's a simple thing, I feel. We can make any technical definitions. That's uh, that's a different issue. So the key tenet of sustainable utilization involves adopting innovative technologies and methodologies that minimize environmental impact. And to make that, the research is the only solution, nothing else. And research needs data, because without data, you cannot make a informed decision and arrive at the right decision. So I would advocate that uh, if we are to make sustainable utilization of the oceans, first of all, we have to be prepared to come up with new technologies which will be sustainable, and lot of research has to go into that in all fields, and we need data, and this data is little more, um, it is more than what we usually the scientists perceive as data. For example, I am an oceanographer. So for me, the data means ocean parameters, temperature, salinity, and other. While we have that, I think if we have to make a sustainable blue economy, we need economic data, we need socio-economic data, and all this has to be integrated on one platform, and that is not possible without we create a digital platform for the data and handling this data as one data set, and look at that in toto to make the informed decisions, because the decision should not be based on presumptions and premises. That is where mostly we go wrong. So addressing the data gaps and filling those data gaps in science about the oceans or environment or other parameters, economic data, and as well as the socio-economic data, and integrating that should be one of the major concern and major thing we have to do. Um, like if you take the fisheries, uh, if I look at the figures, because I had um, some opportunities to interact with our colleagues at CMFRI, and when I look at their data, what it emerges is that during the past 10 years, because some of their data booklets shows that the pelagic fishery or the capture fishery is between 2.7 to 3.8 million metric tons. We have not increased that uh, uh, capture fishery above 3.8 or 3.9 million metric tons. And the statistics also tells us that it can go up to 5 million metric tons. The sustainable yield is only 5 million metric tons. But our requirement is going to be much more. If I remember one of their figure, it says that by 2040 or 2050, we need something like 20 million metric tons. Of course, half comes from the land-based sources, So let us presume that 10 million metric tons has to come from the ocean. There is no other source. Unless somebody finds out that now the meat is grown in the lab. So similarly, tomorrow the fish is grown in the lab. So one uh, vocal advocacy these days, and also some of the papers presented here, it says that the mariculture or cage culture is the solution. It can produce about 4 to 5 million metric tons by using our coasts. So that is true. I don't deny that fact, or I don't. I support that we had to produce. But when we do that, we have to be very careful. We had to develop advancements or develop energy efficient systems. We had to develop environmental benign culture systems. We had to develop reuse self cleaning and self circulatory aquaculture systems, breeding and um, seed production systems, and all um, uh, uh, these precautions has to be developed if we had to develop this as a sustainable solution to meet our requirements. Similarly, the coastal tourism, that's another attractive proposition for blue economy. The so that but that is going to happen at that delicate balance of delicate land of our coast. So there the development has to happen, but preserving the ecosystem, preserving the environment there, and doing a capacity assessment first, because we cannot allow any number of tourists. I think these are problems we are going to face with some of our pilgrimage centers, for example. I hear that lakhs of pilgrimage go to Kedarnath. Kedarnath can take only a certain number of pilgrimage at a time. So if you send more than that, there are going to be disasters and it will not be sustainable. So we had to develop that kind of a sustainable capacity based tourism systems. And another area is bioprospecting and marine biodiversity. I think we had to speed up our research in that area. We had to adopt to more genomic facilities and quick documentary, because we cannot go by documenting one per year, one species per year. We had to quicken documenting and identifying those. Then only we can go into a industrial scale of utilizing them to make medicinal products and pharmaceutical products. And of course, the deep sea minerals, two other panelists spoke. I will not touch upon there now. Similarly, the operational oceanography, the services provided by INCOIS, they play a crucial role because they forewarn the fishermen not only where to go for fishing to get a better yield, they also tell them how safe it is going out at sea. And all this planning should be based on marine spatial planning, because marine spatial planning brings or gives us the opportunity for a consultative process, and that consultative process will reduce or the eliminate the disparities and other issues in the. So uh, before I conclude, I just want to remind that when we talk about the blue economy, 60% of our oceans is beyond the national jurisdiction and EEZ. So we need collaborations with the neighboring countries like our neighbors like Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, Myanmar, and other countries or African countries. We need to develop a good collaborative framework for that. So, in conclusion, the sustainable utilization of oceans is not merely a choice, it is an ethical obligation to our planet and the future generation. And before I conclude, I just want to point out two outcomes or two green shoots from this conference. Sir, if you grace through this auditorium, I think more than 60% of the audience here, they are below 30 years of age. And the second, I think from that slide which Josiah showed us, I think we are reaching that gender balance also. Because living these two larger populations, we cannot achieve our sustainable goal. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Shanad. Thank you very much. May I get your attention? We are fortunate to have our Minister of State, Government of India, here, Dr. Murugan. Uh, he is there in Chennai, so we are very fortunate to have him here. So we'd like to, you are familiar with the theme and you have been looking at particularly NIOT being in Chennai, so you are all familiar with that. So we'll request your address to our people here.
Mr. J. Ramdas, Director NIOT Chennai, Member Secretary WOSC 2024, Dr. K. Josiah Joseph. The sustainable utilization of ocean in blue economy. In this session, chaired by Dr. P.S. Goyalji, Dr. Sailesh Naik, Dr. Sachin Chaturvedi, Dr. Satish Shonai, Dr. Manand, and Dr. Sudhagar, dignitaries, ladies and gentlemen, friends from media, namaskar to you all, vanakkam. So today I have an opportunity to participate in this event. I told that this Congress is the third event, and these 2 days this event is going. And almost more than 400 articles are more than 400 papers are submitted, and they are all evaluated in this 400 papers. So I think it's an such big event. So in this Chennai IIT, they are hosting this event, and Vigyan Bharati, they are organizing this event. So I convey my best wishes to the organizer of this event. So today the need of discussion for sustainable utilization of ocean in blue economy. So blue economy means everyone thinks that fisheries. So we have a long coastal, almost 8,000 kilometer coastal line we are having in the country. And apart from fisheries, some mineral exposures also there. And our government, our Prime Minister, Sri Narendra Modi ji, is giving priority to the blue economy and blue revolution. I can tell that after 2014, how we are leading and how we are pioneer in the blue economy. Particularly, I can, because I am fisheries minister, I can restrict and I can cover my fisheries, I think, here. So this fishery sector, see, from independent to 2014, there was very meager investment up to 3,800 crore only. So very meager last 65 years. But this 10 years, our investment itself 38,500 crore. And same time, we are all talking about the utilization of sustainability of blue economy. So our government have a policy, and we already banned for the LED fishings, already banned for the distraction fishings, and not for ban also, our local fishermen also, they are aware. What is the beauty in this? Our fishermen, they are concerned about the sustainability. Our local traditional fishermen, they are having concern about this. They themselves come forward, they are having discussions, and they are come forward to save the sources of the ocean. For that, the fishermen also want go to the deep seas. I think today 400 papers are presented here. I don't know anyone mentioned about Andaman related. Near Andaman coastals, the fishes are dying because of their people are not going and they are not catching the fishes. So I also went Andaman, then I got surprised this. So like we have the potential, we have the sources, we have enough sources. So today, in the support of our government, marine products, the Bharat is the fourth largest exporter, fourth largest exporter in the worldwide. And simultaneously, we are concerning about the sustainability. At the same time, we are encouraging the aquaculture and seaweed culture. So the alternate employment for the local fishermen community and the self-help group women's. For that seaweed cultivation, we are motivating. And first time in Tamil Nadu, Government of India set up one special seaweed park near Rameswaram, Ramanathapuram. So this is the first type of like processing one and seeds. You can get collect the seeds and processing, and you can send to the market in one place. And same time, the government is encouraging to the local fishermen for the fish ranching. The seed fishes we are collecting and we are ranching the sea for the sustainability. So I think we have to go very long because of some export countries. They need some traceabilities. So as for concern, today we are, I think, lagging for the traceabilities. So here some researchers are there. So how we can identify the traceabilities, and I already instructed the Fishery Survey of India also. So they are also in the job. And apart from this, I want to mention how we are developing the infrastructure in the fishery sector. Fisheries Infrastructure Development Fund, Blue Revolution, Prime Minister Matsya Sammada Yojana. So this and all we are giving. Now our government come forward to allotted 6,000 crore for the digitalization, because our Prime Minister is strongly believing that digital India. So digitalization of the fishermen and sources of the fishes. So the need for the digitalization, this budget, our finance minister is allotted 6,000 crore for the digitalization of these fishery sources and the fisheries. And today, the government of India is taking various steps to enhance and increase the sources and how we can use the minimum sources. We are encouraging for the local fishermen to the offshore cages, cage cultivation. Some countries, they are doing the cage cultivation. We are also encouraging the offshore cage cultivation and pen cultivation, RAS cultivation. So the various inclusion of the technology, the aquaculture field, and we are the pioneer. I can proudly tell that Bharat, our country, is the number one exporter in the aquaculture, processed shrimp. So our target is 1 lakh crore for the 24-25. Now almost we reached in this year 70,000 crore already. We reached our target also. So without disturbing the sustainable and without disturbing the overfishing, without entertaining the juvenile fishing, we are all protecting to that for the sustainability. Instead of we are growing, we are fast, and we are the number one aquaculture exporter and fourth largest country of the marine products. In this world, in these words, I conclude my remarks. I congratulate to the organizers and participants to such a great event and this congress and this very good topic also, sustainable utilization of ocean in blue economy. So the blue economy not only for the fisheries and blue tourism also is there, sports also there, minerals exploration also is there. So we'll together we will save the sustainability and same time we will be pioneer or we will be leader to the export also to get the revenue. And our finally I want to mention only one thing. The country is leading towards the developed country 2047. Our Prime Minister Sri Narendra Modi ji's vision in 2047, our country will be the leader of the world and we are the progressive country. For that, we will contribute and we will dedicate next 25 years. We will work towards for the Viksit Bharat. Thank you. Thank you. Jai Hind, Jai Bharat.
Big applaud to the minister for very positive note from the government of India, commitment towards sustainable development of the country, particularly ocean blue economy. So thank you very much for giving this talk. Would like to stay for some time with us?
Engagements.
Ramdas, yeah.
Thank you so much, sir. On this special occasion, on behalf of NIOT, IIT Madras, and Vigyan Bharati, I take this opportunity to thank the Honorable Union Minister of State for Information and Broadcasting and Fisheries, Animal Husbandry and Dairying, Government of India, Dr. L. Murugan, for taking his time off his busy schedule to be with us here today. I now request Dr. Satish Shenoy, former director in COIS, to honor our minister with a shawl. Requesting Dr. P.S. Goel, former Secretary MOES, to honor to felicitate our.
Okay, you heard the minister, the commitment from the government for the blue economy and uh, I mean, this new concept of digitizing the fishermen, something very new I didn't hear earlier. So government is probably more proactive than the scientists here in this field. You have listened to our panelists. I would like to invite a few comments from our guests from outside India. So I see a few of them in the front row and anyone else. So you have been attending this conference. You have taken a lot of pains to come here all the way from your countries. So anyone of you'd like to get any comment, will welcome. Please, first no, first the guests. Oh yeah, he's from Bangladesh. Okay, but you are a very close neighbor, so you are like a, yeah. Go ahead. Thank you. We will communicate your thoughts or your suggestion to our organizers. Yeah, our friend from Bangladesh. Keep your mic little away. Well, thank you. See, we will have to really look at the practical aspects of associating other countries with our laboratories. There are concerns on that, but certainly the education institutes are open. For example, there is a lot of activity going on in IIT Chennai, IIT Madras here, and they have a very separate department for ocean-related activity, ocean technology. Certainly, those doors are open to all the countries. But we will try to see. We'll give your thoughts. Any other person would like to make any comment from? Please go ahead. Okay, first let me respond to you. If you take a workshop on water, they will say that water should be added to this subject in primary education. You talk to environment conference or environment, they will say should be added to the primary education, secondary education, everywhere. You take space, they will say no, space technology should be taught in higher secondary itself or the 10th class itself. You take astronomy. So actually, when you look at every discipline, once you discuss, they say everything should be added. How much burden you will put on students? My very strong hunch is you don't need to teach these specialized subjects. Teach them good mathematics, good physics, good chemistry, and develop a s- attitude towards or aptitude towards learning. If they have a aptitude towards learning, you put them fishery, they will learn fishery in 1 month. If you put on ship, they will learn fishing, ship management within 1 month. So what we need to do is we need to develop our students to create a capability and aptitude to learn. We don't have to teach everything in the school. So that is one thought. Okay, coming to this workshop, uh, first I must congratulate the organizers. You have done a great job. I never expected this kind of a participation at this length and this width of the subjects being touched up. But I have certain concerns or observations. I will call it observations. The theme is sustainable utilization of ocean in blue economy. And if you look at the papers 420 or 28, you will find much more emphasis on science. Nothing wrong. What it reflects? It reflects that our emphasis in the country is much more on science than on technology. Because when we talk of utilization, it's essentially two things. Number one, technology, that means capacity, capability. And second is capacity. Now, when I look at the technology part, we have practically all technologies except perhaps Dr. Salish Nayak mentioned that, except gas hydrate. How do we harness gas hydrate? We don't have that technology. Other than that, when I became a secretary in 2005 and started first time and came to NIOT, all that we are talking today was being discussed at that time. We have cage culture, we have this culture, we have seaweeds, everything is available. But where is it? It's in labs. And for last 15, 20 years, it has remained in labs. The question is, how do we translate this capability capacity? And that is something we need to do. If we want to really harness blue economy, we have to bring industry. We have to talk to industry. We cannot, scientists cannot live in isolation and think that because I can do these things, so that is happening in the country. It doesn't happen. In fact, the biggest weakness of this country is not just blue economy alone. Various areas, all practical, all aspects of science, we lack in terms of technology translation from lab to the industry. So this is something which we really need to worry about. The other aspect which Actually, I don't want to repeat because Dr. Shailesh Nayak and all of our panelists, Dr. Uh, Atmanand and Dr. Chaturvedi, they have covered everything. But just few things I would like to mention. See, see, when we are looking for an ocean, it's certainly true that we need to have a data. But if you have to observe, the way of putting just data boys is not enough. We need to really, like there is a discipline, we call it satellite meteorology. I think there is a need to have a something like satellite oceanography. We need to have much larger observation system through satellite, and we need to get into the physics of how do we interpret the satellite data. Dr. Shailesh Nayak developed this PFZ concept something like 25 years back, but that from ocean color monitor, and we have remained there. So we need to do much more in these areas. Actually, there's another worry I have. We have a sometimes I feel we have over concern of the ecosystem. We hardly take up things, and much before that, we start worrying about, oh, ecosystem will get spoiled. Let's do something. If we are talking of, let's say, collecting minerals from ocean, and if I put it one place, do you think we are going to spoil the complete ocean system with that? We have not done anything. There are a lot of I would say activism coming through, which actually doesn't allow us to even think how to do it further. So I think we have to really take this sort of worries also with a examine them carefully. What is the impact we are going to have? So we have to be sometimes realist. Otherwise, I would say that uh, the basic lacking part is a translation from lab to the capacity. Whether it is a, I would say, including fishing. We have really, I mean, if you have to buy a system which you want to go deep sea fishing, you will only import a ship from elsewhere. I don't think we have even thought of deep sea ship making for deep sea fishing in India. We don't have that. So we need an enormous amount of technology build up and capacity building. I think this is can only make the blue economy to happen in the country. The goal which either prime minister or the or minister has put that we want to really become 1 lakh crore earning export by 25. This can happen only if we build the capacity. I think this is something we need to really think and recommend about to all the decision makers. With this, I would like to thank organizers for giving me and my panel this opportunity to talk to you. And most of all, thank you very much for being till 5:30 on the last day here. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. Thanks to all our panelists. Now, it's something all our presenters have been waiting for. The prizes shall be distributed to the top performers at WOSC 2024. Uh, I request Dr. Goel to give away the first set of prizes for the best oral and poster presentations. For theme 1, we have Nishan Raja. Could you please come onto the stage as soon as possible? Okay. Theme 2, we have Dr. Suri Sethi VV Arun Kumar. Theme 3, Dhanya M. Lal and Sriram Antur. Come quickly. Team 4, Divya David, P. Keshav Kumar, Im Sangla, Niharika, Adit, and Kondeti Vijay Prakash. Team 5, we have Sajesh PV. Team 6, Romit Rajendra Kaware. Team 7, Sabu M. Team 8, Nidarshan and Vijay Lakshmi. Team 9, Miss Aparna Panda and Chintam Venkateshwaralu. Team 10, Ankush Kadu, Aditi Sharma, Kirtiga SS, Mayukmita Ghosh, NS Hira, and Gaurav Kumar Mishra. I'm going to announce all the names once again. In case you weren't there during the first announcement, you can come and take your prizes now. Team 1, Nishan Raja. Team 2, Suri Shetty VV Arun Kumar. Team 3, Danya M. Lal and Sriram Antur. Team 4, Divya David, B. Kesav Kumar, M. Sangla, Niharika, Adit, and Kondeti Vijay Prakash. Team 5, Sajesh PV. Team 6, Romit Rajendra Kaware. Team 7, Sabu M. Team 8, Nidarshan and Vijay Lakshmi. Team 9, Aparna Panda, Chintam Venkateshwaralu. Team 10, Ankush Kadu, Aditi Sharma, Kirtika SS, Mayukmita Ghosh, NS Hira, and Gaurav Kumar Mishra. I now request Dr. Shailesh Naik to present the rest of the next set of prizes. We've had school level competitions on essays, pencil drawing, and online quiz. So the first prize would be for 5,000 rupees with a memento and a certificate. And a second prize is a cash prize of 3,000 rupees with a memento and certificate. And third prize would be 2,000 rupees with a memento and a certificate. We'll start with category B, class 11 and 12. Essay competition English. First prize, Selvi S. Sindhu Meenakshi, SPK Girls Higher Secondary School, Arupukotai. Third prize, Selvi A. Saranya, St. Gemma Matriculation School, Korattur, Arni. For pencil drawing competition, first prize, Dayanita Velammal Bodhi Campus from Kolapakam, Chennai. Second prize, Selvi Preeta S. Amalur Pavam Lords Academy, Puducherry. And third prize, Selvan Yuvaraj, G Star Matriculation Higher Secondary School, Kumbakonam. In category A, classes 8, 9, and 10, for the essay writing competition Tamil, we have First prize, Selvan V. Karthik, Government Higher Secondary School, Nathukulipatti, Kollimalai. Second prize, Selvan Srinivasa, Amalur Pavam Lords Academy, Puducherry. Third prize, Selvi Mahima MB, TNPL Public School, Kagitapuram, Karur. For essay writing English, we have first prize, Selvi R.V. Priyadarshini, TNPL Public School, Kagitapuram, Karur. Second prize, Selvi Madhumita, Velamal Bodhi Campus, Kolapakam, Chennai. Third prize, Selvi Saraswati M. Sri Bharat Vidyashram, Puducherry. Request Dr. Sachin Chaturvedi to give away the next set of prizes. For pencil drawing competition, first prize, Selvan M. Shankara from Sri Sundareshwara Vidyasala M. Saraka from Melur. Second prize, Selvi R. Mitra, Nehru International School, TM Palayam, Coimbatore. Third prize, Selvi Samyukta, Velamal Bodhi Campus, Kolapakam, Chennai. Requesting Dr. M.A. Atmanand to give away the next set of prizes. For the online quiz competition, first prize, Devkanta Mighty, Velamal Bodhi Campus, Kolapakam. Second prize, Kavin Surya M, Velamal Bodhi Campus, Kolapakam, Chennai. Third prize, Lokit Krishna, also from Velamal Bodhi Campus, Kolapakam, Chennai. I also request Dr. Atmanan to honor our judges for Mrs. Shyamala, coordinator from Uttar Tamil Nadu, BDM Vibha. And Dr. P. Mani, HOD, Physics Department of Anna University, Trichy, Vibha. Requesting all the students, winners to come onto the stage for a group photo. Requesting Dr. Tata Sudhakar, President of Arivial Sangam and former Chief Scientist at NIOT, to join all the guests on the dais.
Okay, sir. The online quiz competition, first, second, and third is a Chimia International Residential School, Coimbatore. Just now.
Yes, Dr. Goyal to give away the prize. Yes, Dr. Goyal.
The copy priya one time. One time. Okay, okay. Second prize, Selvi Kava Priya Sundareswaran is a Vidyashal Matriculation Higher Secondary School, Melu. அவங்களுக்கு பதிலா இவங்க வாங்குறாங்க. சார் செகண்ட் பிரைஸ்
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thanks to all the guests and winners. With this, we are nearing the end of today's program. I now request Dr. Sudhakar Tata, former senior scientist and head of the Technology Development Group at National Institute of Ocean Technology. He holds about 8 patents, and his research interests include signal processing and marine instrumentation. We request Dr. Tata Sudhakar, who is also the president of Arivial Sangam Chennai, to propose the vote of thanks.
Yeah, we'll have a vote of thanks after the facilitation of the dignitaries. I'll do your job. Do that.
Apologies. There will be a felicitation of all the dignitaries on the dais before we move on to the vote of thanks. So, requesting Dr. Satish Shenoy to, uh, sorry, requesting Dr. Ramadas, Director NIOT, to felicitate Dr. S.P. Goel, former Secretary of MOES. Requesting Dr. Ramadas, Director NIOT, to felicitate Dr. Shailesh Nayak, former Secretary MOES. Requesting Dr. G.A. Ramadas to felicitate Dr. Sachin Chaturvedi, DG Research and Information System for Developing Countries. And requesting Dr. Tata Sudhakar, President Arivial Sangam Chennai, to felicitate Dr. M.A. Atmanan, former Director NIOT and visiting professor at IIT Madras. Once again, I request Dr. Tata Sudhakar to propose the vote of thanks. Kindly be seated.
So, good evening. It's a long day, so it's going to be very small. Good afternoon to all. And I'd like to propose a vote of thanks. It's about 3 days. I think we are almost morning 9:30 to 6 o'clock. I think all I was working. So first, I'd like to thank Honorable Minister of State for Information and Broadcast and Fisheries, Animal Husbandry and Dairying, Government of India for getting the occasion and giving the validity address in spite of his busy schedule. We had a wonderful panel discussion chaired by Professor Goel, former Secretary MOES and Chair of National Innovative Foundation, Dr. Shailesh Naik, former Secretary MOES and Director NIAS, and Dr. Sachin Chaturvedi, DG Research and Information Systems, Dr. Satish Shanai, former Director INCOIS and Vice President of the Vignan Bharati, and Dr. M.V. Atmanan, former Director NIOT and visiting professor IIT Madras. We thank all of them. We had about 10 themes, and Joshi has given a full details about all the themes. So I'm not going to details. We're going to thank all the coordinators, co-coordinators who have received this abstract, evaluated them, and then sorted out for the presentation and the posters. We also thank lead speakers, chairs, and co-chairs for doing the whole symposium in a ordinary manner. We had a very 6 very informative plenaries, and we thank all the speakers. Apart from the main themes, we had actually 4 programs outside the presentations. The school student competition, just now we gave all the presentations. And we had a fisherman meet, which actually coordinated by Dr. Balakrishnan Nair Inquiries, which is actually supported by MS Swaminathan Foundation, staff, along with the CMFR and CBAC. We thank all of them. We had an ocean summit, which had a participant representative from coastal states and coastal nations. We thank all of them. We also had a early career ocean professional meet, which is coordinated by Dr. Divya and Sunanda. We thank both of them. This is a very big event, and it needs a lot of funds. We had a huge support from sponsors and exhibitors. We thank all of them. The list of actually people who has worked behind is quite big. Uh, People from our own ministry and the different ministries actually has done a lot of work for putting all these things together. So we thank all of them, along with all the NIOT staff, IIT Tech Park, Vignan Bharati, and of course IIT OEC group, which actually helped us. So I like to thank all of them who are directly, indirectly contributed to the success of this program. And special thanks to Professor Sanaj Raj at my end. And before I conclude, there's one person and her team, I think, needs to be congratulated. I think Josie has done a tremendous work. Last 2 months, I think she has put a lot of effort to doing all this work together. Thank you all. Right.
Thank you very much, sir. We have one participant who also did well at in the oral and poster presentations who could not be here when we were announcing the prizes earlier. So we request Dr. Shailesh Nayak to give away that one prize. Mr. Sanjeeva Kumar Balyar Singh. Mr. Sanjeeva Kumar Balyar Singh. Sanjeeva Kumar Balyar Singh here. Okay. Right. Okay. Thank you so much. Um, thank you all, one and all, for being here today. And kindly rise for the national anthem. Thank you. Nandri.